This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, January 5th, 2026. We tell you what you need to know, give you the important context, and help each other understand.
Today we are live from CES 2026 in Las Vegas, Nevada, talking about all the tech news and breaking it down in what we've been seeing ourselves.
Me, I'm Tom Merritt.
And I'm Rob Dunwood.
I'm Jason Howell.
Back at headquarters in Los Angeles, I'm Sarah Lane.
Hi, Sarah.
And as always, I am Roger Jane.
Samsung had announcements last night. LG had them this morning. Lego is announcing things as we speak. Roger's going to be keeping check on that and check back with us in a little bit about what they've announced. Later today at CES, we'll hear from NVIDIA, Sony, Honda Mobility, Intel, and AMD. So tomorrow will be almost entirely about chips. But for today, let's start with what you need to know with the big stories.
So,
right.
yeah.
We're going to, that's okay. It's CES. It's crazy. Tell us about LG, Sarah.
Well, Tom, I'm glad that you want me to do that because I watched the keynote this morning, came in at just under an hour. LG didn't cover any PC stuff, but that's to be expected. What they did cover was a lot of smart home, smart kitchen, smart living room. We got a robot, and then a bunch of smart automotive stuff that I'll get to in a minute. Let's start with that robot, though. Cloyd,
loves the robot.
which has gotten a lot of attention, and it was sort of cloaked in mystery before CES. A lot of us were wondering, are they even going to have, a tangible model that people can look at and, possibly even shake hands with type thing? Yes, Cloyd was in real life on stage. LG calls this a new category of smart assistants called ambient care. The company showed off how Cloyd can handle dinner prep. Although, curiously enough, the example was making French onion soup with ingredients in the smart fridge, and then one would think that the robot would take those ingredients and put them in the smart oven, but that never happened. It was just sort of assumed that that's what happens. Showed the robot putting some clothes into a washing machine, although the washing machine never started. So this is all kind of a little smoke and mirrors going on. This is definitely a prototype. This is not something that's going to go on sale this year, and if it was in the next 5 years, I would be shocked. It's cool, but I don't know what everybody else thinks about it, but the robot is also, it's very slow. So if you're in a hurry, it's like I'm just going to put my own laundry into the washer. It's cool. It's a cool concept, but it is a concept. That's what we got going on with that. What isn't a concept, what's real, is the new wallpaper TV. This is the OLED Evo W6. It's wireless, which LG made a huge deal about. It's still going to need power, but everything else can use, all your AV inputs can use the Zero Connect box. It already existed. This one is 35% smaller than the previous version, and you can put it all sorts of places. It can transmit from almost up to about 30 feet away, so you can put it somewhere convenient, and you've got, a really, really, really thin TV, 9 millimeters thick, with Alpha 11 AI processor. LG made a big deal about that, but it's quite lovely. And a bunch of folks from both Engadget and The Verge got their, well, they didn't get their hands on it, but they got to see the wallpaper TV at an event last night, and were really impressed with it. No pricing, of course, and it's going to be expensive. Just, let's say $20,000 if I was a betting man. We also have a new AI TV platform that's powered by WebOS. That's, LG's tvOS. Accesses Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. It has a new remote with an AI button, so you can be watching a sports game and be like, who's that player? Or, can I find that shirt somewhere? It's context. There was a brief mention of LG Sound Suite. That was announced back in December, so people already knew that it existed. But it was mentioned on stage when talking about both the wallpaper TV and AI TV. Just a reminder that is a modular lineup with a soundbar, a couple wireless surround sound speakers, a subwoofer. It can go full 13.1.7 channel surround. So if you want to get totally nuts in your home theater, this is a neat option. And it also partners with Dolby Atmos Flex Connect, and that pretty much just gives you a lot of different options to put your speakers if you kind of have a funny space or you just want to move your speakers around wirelessly. Okay, so let's talk about kitchen. The new Signature Series kitchen appliances, like fridge, oven. That's really only what they showed on, in the demo on stage. They used what's known as conversational AI. LG says you can get answers to things like how to store your meat and freshness updates in the fridge. The fridge has 2 really nice looking OLED displays on each door. There's a camera inside to make sure that, if your blueberries are going bad, supposedly you'll know before it's over. The AI oven has something called gourmet AI, identifying ingredients, looking to cook something to your liking based on your preferences, and can also recommend recipes. I don't really know why the oven would do that rather than the fridge, but it doesn't really matter. And while we were talking about this, Cloyd was in the mix as well. So the idea is that the smart robot is part of your smart kitchen as well as your smart laundry room.
Cloyd was over there not making French onion soup.
Right,
The oven had told it the recipe for.
Yeah. Vehicle tech, this one was very interesting. So LG called this the new intelligent space automotive solution. Can do things like track your eyes, understand your gestures, give you real-time trip updates. For a driver, and by the way, before I go too far into this is going to rely on partnerships with automakers, OEMs. LG did not make a car. This is LG saying, hey, automakers, let's make a car with our technology to put into your car. Okay, so knowing that, what LG did show off was a windshield. So, if you're the driver or your front passenger, it when in autonomous mode, can make your trip look like a video game. For example, you're going through the Holland Tunnel in New York City, and all of a sudden it's like, you're in Tron. Now, when I was watching this demo, I was like, this seems dangerous, but, it's autonomous mode, right? So I guess I don't know, you're kind of just sitting there zoning out anyway. Having cherry blossoms fall down, as you're driving through the countryside. Yeah. It's cool, conceptually anyway. As a backseat passenger, this one was kind of neat. There is when you're sitting as a passenger in the back seat, there's a TV, kind of how some of the nicer passenger rides are in some of the larger SUV models, for kids or whatever, to watch a movie in the back seat. But you can basically throw media to your side window as a passenger. Now you kind of have to look to the sides, which I don't know if you'd want to do that on a really long trip, watching Titanic or a movie that's more than 3 hours, but it's possible, so says LG, and that's kind of neat. Also gives you have some contextual options too. If you're just looking outside, it's like you will get that's the Empire State Building, that kind of stuff. So again, LG did not make a car. LG wants you to use this tech in your car. So GM, Ford, if you're listening, that's what's going on. And then the keynote ended with a bunch of AI cooling system tech. This is all kind of data center enterprise stuff. LG saying we're going to help you build out your data centers, and they're going to be cooler than ever.
Yeah.
No pun
That's probably
intended.
LG appealing to the investors. Don't worry, we're going to make a lot of money off AI too. So be happy with us. LG always leaks everything ahead of CES, so there's never a whole lot of surprises. But a nice overview of where they're going. Not anything that you can get today. Even the wallpaper TV you can't even get today.
And just no pricing. I mean, there was nothing on stage that was like, and you're gonna get it March of this year. There was nothing. It was all very vague. This was all very LG is looking toward the future, which is great.
They didn't
a
even
lot of this
talk
stuff
about
is
the LG Gram laptops, which are available now and
Right.
quite nice and light and improved and all that. You would think they would mention it.
So I'm thinking of the rear seat window monitors and just how greasy the screens would get, the windows would get. I personally cannot stand marks on the window, so I don't know if that's for me. Yeah. I don't know if I need a screen on. I want a screen in the headrest. I don't know if I want the screen on the actual window because I don't want kids touching my windows.
The contextualization though, through looking out the window and going, oh, that's the, as you said, Empire State Building. That's just not something I've ever considered before as far as technology is concerned in the car. So that's kind of neat.
It reminds me almost of Minority Report when you're walking down the street. Well, now you're driving down the street and you just see ads just pop up is the first thing that comes to mind. It's always going to be ads. But Minority Report got a lot of stuff probably right.
Yeah.
Did you have fun watching it, Sarah?
Yeah. I'm furiously writing notes, during the keynote. So it's like I thought that It was this is LG saying, we don't really have anything to like sell you right now, but we want to sell you the future.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me.
yeah.
The Cloyd robot, I was very underwhelmed by.
Okay.
And it just, again, it's like, and also when the robot itself is kind of small. It's littler than I thought it would be, but the base, where the wheels that roll around, is not all that small. Like, it leaves a healthy footprint. And this is not something that's going to be able to roll around a small apartment.
Right.
You need a large space for this to
when-
work appropriately.
If you already got a big dog, there's not much room for that.
Yeah,
robot
or
to-
carpets, or your floors aren't level, there's stairs. There's
Totally.
all sorts of questions about how this actually works. And again, talks slow. Folding laundry seemed very slow. It's like, if you're not in a hurry and you really hate doing certain chores, and it can do certain chores for you, great. I also read, they did not say this on stage today, but I read that Cloyd can lean over and pick up something anywhere knee level or higher. Now, our knees are at various levels, but I know that the bottom rack of my dishwasher is below my knees. So, that whole kind of like unloading and loading the dishwasher, it's like, I think, I don't think we should get too excited about what it can do just yet.
Nevertheless, Cloyd will probably be the headline today on most people's reports from CES.
Robots.
Now, Jason, you went to Samsung's announcement. There was not a
yes.
lot that was new there. What did they talk about?
No, I mean, really, yeah, it was about an hour, and I will say about halfway through, I was like, okay, this is a little boring, but there's some interesting stuff in here. It was the first look presentation, big on AI, also big on big screens. That was actually one really cool thing. But let's dive in. Mobile and AI. Not much mobile at the event. CEO Tim Rowe shared that Samsung expects Google Gemini AI to power 800 million of its devices in 2026. This is actually double its current number, and kind of interesting, the foldable market apparently, according to Samsung, growing slower than they expected. So this kind of pivot into AI seems to be a kind of a primary driver of their growth in their mobile division right now, at a time when their trifold, which I hope to get my hands on here sometime this week, is also making the news. So anyways, that's interesting about their foldables kind of strategy. There was a massive 130-inch micro LED TV. I think we talked about this last.
Micro RGB.
Sorry, micro RGB. Apologies, that went in there wrong. That they announced, that they showed off on stage. It was flanking the stage. On both sides, they were just massive, and they kind of like rolled out on their own. So it was kind of ominous in a way.
Are they supposed to roll around on their own?
No, it was all stage play. It was all like, woo. But they looked really impressive from afar. Yes, 130 inches is large. Also 55, 65, and 75 inches for the rest of us that can't afford however expensive these things are going to be. And let me tell you, they're going to be very expensive. They showed off the Freestyle Plus portable projector. It has this auto calibration mode where it can calibrate to any wall color. It's also very bright, 430 lumens. It got a bump up there. Google Photos coming to Samsung TVs later this year, and I think that just kind of shows Google and Samsung, there's a love fest going on between those two. It didn't always used to be the case, but now it is, and this continues to be the case. Yes. Audio-wise, now this is actually really cool because I'm an audio nerd, so I love this stuff. But a very cool demo, something that they showed off coming to Samsung TVs called Sound Controller, which is the ability for Samsung TVs to use AI to do things like if you're watching a sportscast and you're like, I don't want to listen to the commentator. The AI can extract the commentator from the audio, so you just hear the sports. And obviously it's generated right in real time, but still neat that you could do that. Or turning down the volume of dialogue or turning up the volume of dialogue. Having that kind of like ability to use AI to control different parts of the sound spectrum. There's the HWQS90H, isn't that just roll off the tongue? Soundbar. It's a single bar solution, has quad woofers that push the air in two different directions. And essentially, this means that with that bar, you wouldn't need a separate subwoofer.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice for smaller spaces, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm definitely looking forward to hearing that in action because that's a cool promise. I want to hear what it sounds like. But then, like the LG presentation that you talked about, Sarah, there's a lot of overlap here, I realize. We have to talk about appliances because a large focus of what Samsung was doing was bringing AI into its appliance lineup. So there's the bespoke AI laundry combo that has a single unit. It does the washing, it does the drying. They showed off, this kind of, and the smarts that are required in there to keep things ironed out and stuff. When you hang them, there's like a special, I didn't put it in my notes. I can't remember exactly what they call it.
So it's a good old fashioned washer dryer combo unit, but with an LLM in it.
Yeah, basically. Okay. I mean, that's basically what's going on right now. They're like, let's just put an LLM everywhere.
I'm envisioning, are my clothes dry? Yes.
Yes. You can wear them now.
Or not yet.
Yeah, I mean, those dryers that do the beep 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 when it's done, just not good enough.
No,
I need a voice telling me, yes, Sarah, they're dry.
We need to talk to our appliances is what we need. I don't know if you could talk to this thing, but Gemini coming to the fridge with something similar to what you were talking about, Sarah. AI vision inside Gemini integration that recognizes your food items, your expiration dates, gives you extra insights into like recipes and favorite items. So it'll tell me that I really like blueberries. Isn't that amazing? I had no idea.
Can it tell you if the blueberries are expired?
That's my understanding that yes, it will do that.
Okay.
Samsung also spent a good deal of time on intelligent care, a proactive health monitoring effort with things like the Galaxy Watch, Galaxy Ring, so tracking my vitality score, medication interactions. These are just a few ways that they were specifically calling this out as kind of like a separate tangent. So honestly, like you said, there wasn't a lot of insane news. Like you said, Sarah, there wasn't a lot of, and you can get this on this day. It's kind of like AI coming to more things.
And a lot of things we also heard about in advance.
Yes,
Much like LG.
Totally.
All right, let's talk about what you did after the Samsung announcement. Honor is here at CES, and you got to look at their robot phone.
Yeah, Honor is doing some really interesting things in mobile right now. Near the end of the Samsung event, I was invited to Honor's suite. Same building, thankfully, so I didn't have to go all across town, where I got to get close to their Honor robot phone. If you haven't heard about this thing, this is a smartphone. I think it's more like a concept, right? Like I couldn't get my hands on this thing. They weren't letting anyone touch it.
You were tantalizingly close in your short.
Oh yeah, I could get very close.
Yeah.
I just couldn't touch it. It's a device that essentially it combines a gimbal-style pop-out camera into a smartphone. Does that sound weird? It is. So imagine a Osmo Pocket 3 that flips out of the top of the smartphone when you need it, and then flips back into the body of the device to hide behind this like plastic panel that covers it when you don't. And I'm super curious to kind of find out like what is the quality of the camera, how kind of stabilized is the gimbal itself. How, there's a lot of unanswered questions. I think what I was gathering last night is that we're going to hear a lot more and potentially get some final release details somewhere around Mobile World Congress.
Oh, okay. So that's not that far away.
Yeah.
Just a couple of months from now.
But it's still kind of an elusive device. Even though it was right there, I didn't really get to see it in
Was
action.
it LG that had the pop-up camera from the phone at CES a few years ago? And this is like the next step because it's got a gimbal in it.
Yeah, and it flips out. I mean, this is like that on steroids, right?
Yeah.
OnePlus has always also done way back when they did the pop-out camera.
So it doesn't sound like they're going for the sheet of paper thin phone if the gimbal pops out of it.
It is not razor thin. But it is also, I've seen a lot thicker phones. Yeah, and the whole phone isn't that thick, right? You know what I mean? Like a camera bump is usually the thickest part, and this is kind of the same way. It wasn't, it's a thicker phone, but it wasn't so thick that I was like, oh, no one's ever going to want to use that. If you highly value the gimbal that just happens to be with you at all time, you might actually like that if the camera quality is good. And we don't know that yet.
Yeah. Okay. We also got some news from Qualcomm, getting their chip news in early before the rest of the chip stuff comes later today. Qualcomm showed off the Snapdragon X2 Plus chips. These are for bargain laptops. So the elites are the ones that are already out. Those are the like superpower ones that can be like a desktop replacement. These are for budget and mainstream systems. There's a 10-core and a 6-core version. They support LPDDR5X RAM if the manufacturers can find any. It has a hexagon NPU that reaches 80 tops, which is the same as in the Elite series. So the NPU is the same, and the NPU is the one that does the inferencing. So this qualifies as a Copilot Plus PC. They're Orion processors, which Qualcomm insists on spelling with a Y, designed on a 3 nanometer process, meaning they'll use, in Qualcomm's estimates, 43% less power than the previous generation of the Plus series for Qualcomm. No price is released, but they will be less expensive than the Elite series, and most of us will see them in our devices, not buying them directly. This is a manufacturing announcement, but it seems like a decent step up for the mainstream chips there. All right, we have a lot to get to. DTNS is made possible thanks to you. You are the ones that make it possible for us to be here. Thanks to Jeff Wilkes, Tim Deputy, Brandon Brooks, brand new patrons over the weekend. We got Isha, Patrick, Motivation Bites, and Ben. Welcome back, Mark and Angel, who came back into the Patreon fold. Good to have you back. And thank you for the raise to Michael. Big thanks to every single one of you who supports us in whatever way you can.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
There's a lot happening at CES, so I doubt we can really call these next stories briefs, but let's check out some of the other notable news. SwitchBot's robot can also fold your laundry. No, not just LG. The Onero H1 can grasp and push and open and supposedly organize while learning from its tasks. Demos including filling a coffee machine, washing windows, loading the washing machine. I guess that's a really popular one. It has articulated arms and hands with 22 degrees of freedom and some rolly wheels for moving around. No price yet, of course, but Onero says it will open for pre-orders soon. So I think it's got a leg up on LG here.
Yeah, I wanted to see this one because SwitchBot was at CES unveiled, but they didn't have the robot with them. So I'm going to have to go seek that one out on the floor somewhere. Who here gets excited about standards?
Okay. All right.
We've got.
Sure.
I have standards, Tom.
Yes, you have very high standards. It's one of the things we admire about you. The Aliro Smart Lock standard, though, is a new one you can add past final verification and will come to markets this quarter. It will let you unlock smart locks with your phone, something you can do with Apple and HomeKit, of course, but with Aliro, any phone will be able to do it. Android phones will be able to do it too. Locks will need special radios and antennas, so your old lock may or may not be able to upgrade, but new locks can have this. Aliro is direct and encrypted, so it works locally over NFC when you can tap, over ultra wideband, which lets it unlock when it detects that you're approaching, or Bluetooth LE, which lets you issue a command with the phone. You can do that by voice or by an app or something like that. But the credentials are stored on the device and in the lock with asymmetric encryption. So your phone doesn't need to be on the internet for this to work. You don't have to connect to a cloud service to unlock your door. You can tap it just like you would open with a regular key, as long as you've got the device nearby. Samsung, Google, and Apple developed the standard, so it's going to get used by the major smartphone platforms. And a bunch of lock makers are on board as well. You got Yale, you got Schlage, you got all the names you would normally look for.
Not needing the internet connection, that's
Huge.
essential
Yeah.
in something like this. You know, that would be the worst thing in the world to not be able to get into the house because
You'd
the
have to have a
internet went down.
backup, right?
Yeah.
You'd have to have a
And
standard
if you
key.
need to have a backup, then what's
then
the
why
point?
would you do it?
It's always the
Exactly.
case. Yeah.
So I'm actually getting new doors sometime this year.
Okay.
So, and the hope is I want to have smart doors, and this will probably be technology that I'm looking at if it's the standard.
Definitely.
So, Tom,
you
to
got
answer your
standards
question,
too.
I like standards.
Yeah, we brought you into the standards.
All right. Well, Amazon made a few announcements at CES here. The new improved voice assistant has a website now at alexa.com. You can get early access, and those early access customers will have, the first, as it sounds like, they're going to have first crack at it with more access to follow. It's going to open up eventually. Fire TV UI got a new design. Everything has a much more rounded look, and there's a little more room between items, if that's your thing. And Amazon says it should work 10 to 30% faster. The remote now works a little differently as well. The menu button brings up Fire TV's art and photos, games, and ambient experience features, and a long press of the home button pulls up a shortcut panel. And of course, the improved Smart Assistant now available in the interface. And this is all coming to users with a rollout starting in February, extending to all supported devices throughout the spring. You've got the Fire TV app now letting you browse content, edit your watch list, play things on your TV, just like you can do with like a Roku device. And Amazon is joining the trend of making artwork style TVs. You know, it's a thing. The 4K Amazon Ember Art line is going to be available this spring in 55 and 65 inch sizes. You can swap out the bezels, and it comes with more than 2,000 pieces of free digital art.
Swapping out bezels sounds cumbersome to me.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, that's about to do a lot, right? That maybe it's set up. I choose my bezel.
I thought we
That's
just
true.
didn't want bezels.
Well, but this is a
But
frame.
if this is art, then
so you
the
have to have
frame
the
would-
frame around it.
Yeah, no, I get it.
This is the bezel, the little known pro bezel world.
I will be interested to see what people think of ALXEA Plus. I've got one with my my Echo Studio. Tom has one as well, and you know, which came bundled with ALXEA Plus, and it's remarkably better, I think. So the more people who get access, the more I think we'll hear about this.
All right, Xreal decided to target me specifically and say, "Oh, you have the Xreal 1 Pro, Tom? Great, we just improved the Xreal glasses with the Xreal S1 and the Neo Dock. So the S1 glasses don't have the flatter lenses to reduce glare like the Xreal 1 Pros do, but they have a wider field of view, 52 degrees versus 50 degrees, 1200p images, not 1080p. Brightness is better, 700 nits, not 600 nits, and they're less expensive. Just to further insult me, $450 versus $500 available now. They specifically are targeting this to gamers. They want this to have better experience for gaming specifically. They're still selling the Xreal 1 Pros if you don't care about that. You can pay a little more for that flatter glare-resistant lens. Then there's the Xreal Neo, which is an external battery. Now, Xreals don't need a battery to work. They're just monitors. They're powered by USB-C, but you want to be able to use them with your device. And with the Nintendo Switch 2 particularly, you had to have the Switch 2 docked if you wanted to use Xreal glasses, which is cumbersome if you're like, well, I'm just going to bring my Switch on the plane and use my glasses as the display. So the Neo has a DisplayPort hub with a 10,000 milliamp hour battery bank, so you don't have to dock the Switch. You can plug the Switch into that and your Xreals into the dock. Also works with any DisplayPort device, and doesn't have to be just a Switch. It's available now for $99. Not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, so I did get these in advance from Xreal. I actually published a full review on my YouTube channel yesterday, so you can find the full review. Couple of thoughts. There is an X1 chip embedded into these glasses, similar to, I think,
I think in the Pro
in the Pro as well. So you're going to get this update as well. Because of that X1 chip, I had to do an OTA update, but you get something called Real 3D, which essentially spatializes anything that passes through the glasses. And you can also adjust the extreme nature of that 3D real-time conversion.
Which is mostly for gaming versus
Oh,
TV
dude, it's
viewing.
video too.
Does it work? Is it
yeah,
worthwhile
it
on
works
video
for
too?
everything, and actually, yeah, it works. It works pretty well. It's not perfect, you know. It's real-time conversion, but I mean, I saw a version of this a couple of months ago out of Google, their Project Aura, which is also an Xreal device. It's unreleased at this point. No, actually, sorry, this wasn't with the Aura. This was with the Galaxy VR, which has the
XR.
automatic
Yeah,
spatialization,
right.
the XR, sorry. And so this is Xreal's version of it with their in-house X1 chip. And yeah, it's pretty impressive. Definitely do the update on yours, and you'll get that feature. It's a real selling point of these glasses that you have this at $450. The glasses are really nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Anker announced a few things at CES. Anker has a few different brands. We'll start with Eufy. Eufy has the new clean robot vacuum Omni S2, which vacuums and mops and can work on shag carpets up to 5 centimeters. So all you shag carpet people might be interested in this. The whole vacuum mop combo seems to be the trend these days with robot vacuums. It can identify floor types, or at least promises to, and then adjust accordingly. And it generates oxidizing disinfectants in the tank. Not sure what that means, but it sounds really clean. Pre-sales began Tuesday, January 6th, so this is coming soon. $1,600 though, so you gotta really want it. Shipping January 20th. The Soundcore Aero Fit 2 Pro headphones are open air, but they also have active noise canceling. They use an adjustable ear hook and some algorithms that adjust the noise cancellation up to 380,000 times per second, coming in February for $180. pretty good price. Soundcore has a portable version of its projector called the Nebula P1i. The speakers are embedded, but they can be flipped open, they can be tilted around. Arriving this year for $369. Parents of babies, you know who you are, may like the Eufy Bottle Washer S1. I love these names. With a built-in water softener and multi-layer rotating spray for cleaning. Obviously, if you clean a lot of bottles, this might be very helpful for you. However, we don't have pricing and we don't have availability. We do have a new version of the Anker Nano Charger that has a screen that gives you not only power delivery levels, but connected device charging levels as well. So if you're powering up a lot of stuff, you really want to know, where you're at with this. Can be very, very helpful. USB port is on top now, and the prongs can be rotated 180 degrees. This is a great device for CES.
Yeah, absolutely. I like those chargers that give you feedback on how the power delivery is coming. It helps me make sure that I've got the right plug in the right one, because there's one meant for a computer and there's one meant for the phone. And then being able to, at least if the device communicates with it, tell you how much charge is left is handy too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So Google is expanding what Gemini can do as part of the Google TV operating system. You can use it to search Google Photos, make slideshows, and even create new remixes of wholly new photos and videos using VO and Nano Banana. That's pretty cool to be able to actually make images on your TV
and videos.
with those things.
Crazy.
But it will also do something that people who don't use Google TV already thought it probably could do, and that's to use natural language to just ask Gemini to adjust settings like, hey, brighten the screen for me. It's a little bit too dim. Turn it up. I can't hear it.
Yeah.
Those kind of things are really cool. And I actually have one. I thought it would be able to do those. It wasn't able to do it. So I was like, that's kind of interesting. But now it will be able to be.
I know that this is future thinking and not looking at the now in this announcement. But what this makes me realize is this is a window into sometime down the road where our TVs and the AI that is inside of them allows us to sit down and say, this is what I want to watch right now.
Oh,
And
you're
for
thinking
it
of the
to
VO
create,
thing now.
exactly.
Like
The VO is like the
extrapolated.
stepping stone towards something like that, whether that makes you excited or I can hear your eyes rolling underneath your eyelids. Doesn't matter. I think this is a window into that potential.
So right now I can watch Bob's Burgers and Bluey on Disney Plus. In the future, I'll be able to tell Disney Plus through my Google TV, have Bluey hang out at Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to look, but yeah, technically speaking, probably so.
Can I watch The Matrix 496, please?
Right.
All right, let's move into some smart home announcements.
Lock-in debuted its vein recognition with wireless recharging by infrared up to 4 meters away. The beam is not harmful, but can be blocked by people and things that will interrupt charging. It blocks by palm, finger vein, or 3D facial recognition, and it will require expert installation. A non-video version comes in April for $350. A version with video capabilities will come in July or August with no price.
Yeah, so we've seen these wireless powered locks before, so that part isn't new. It's just that this works a little better, and it's got that vein recognition with your finger. It's not a fingerprint recognition; it's vein recognition.
Weird,
along with the 3D in the palm.
Craziness.
So Govee has some interesting additions to its line of smart home devices. Ceiling Light Ultra has 616 LEDs that let you design the visuals with motion, color, and shapes. It can understand natural language, so you can tell it what you want it to display. The Govee Ceiling Light with blue sky effect emulates skylight or can just be a traditional white light. It's good for up to 300 square feet of space. And the Govee Floor Lamp 3 can reproduce more than 281 trillion colors and can adjust lighting to match the time of day. It works with Samsung SmartThings support for Matter, Amazon, and Google. No price release or dates on these yet. I am a Govee fan. I've got
me too.
several Govee devices, so this is definitely something I'll be looking for.
Yeah,
I don't know. This simulates a skylight doesn't really, it looks like a ceiling light to me.
So let me give you an example. My studio is in my basement, and all I have are two windows at the top of the room that I've got glass block, and I've got blackout curtains on them. So I have no natural light down there. So anything that could simulate it would make me not want to necessarily leave the space as often as I do.
I know what you mean, Sarah, though. When I think of skylight, I think of something big and square. And these look. I actually have skylights that look like this. They're from 1954. They're in my house. They're very tight. They're very circular. But you don't see those. Those are. It's unusual that they used that form factor, I think.
Well, LifeX launched a Matter-enabled smart mirror, less expensive smart bulbs and light strips, and then a wall dimmer for the U.S. The 36 by 22-inch mirror lights up, obviously, but also includes smart modes like makeup check. Hopefully it doesn't say, you look terrible, try again. Anti-fog is in there as well. The company plans to upgrade its entire current generation of smart bulbs to Matter over Thread later this year as well. So that's really helpful for those of you who have invested in LifeX bulbs and other LifeX smart stuff.
You and I both have the really old LifeX bulbs.
Yeah, I have a couple of them.
We should probably just upgrade to these at this point because they're like 10 years old, right?
And they are a beast. Anytime you change your SSID or anything else, it's like, you better have nothing to do on a Saturday because you're going to be tinkering with these for a while.
You're going to be finding that tiny little switch on the side. Yeah. Jackery, the home battery company, showed off a solar-powered gazebo. You heard me right. I used the word gazebo. You know, the thing in someone's backyard, not mine, where you go and sit and have sandwiches, or I don't know what people
yes,
do in gazebos.
You know, sandwiches in the gazebo at all times.
I don't know what happens there, but it's solar-powered.
No one knows what happens in the gazebo.
It's 4.5 meters by 3 meters by 2.7 meters, 2,000 watts worth of solar panels. A pull-down projector screen, 2 outdoor, so weatherproofed AC outlets. You, however, have to provide the batteries. Jackery is like, hey, you can buy our batteries, but it will work with other batteries. The more you provide, the longer you can use it without the sun out. You know, you can use it in the nighttime. It can power a fridge, a projector, so you can use that screen, a sound system, and it has those built-in lights that it powers as well. They say it's coming in the second half of the year for between $12,000 and $15,000 without the batteries. I don't buy gazebos ever, so I don't know if that's particularly expensive, but it sounds pricey to me. They also said they would ship the rooftop tent they showed off in 2024 at CES, and they haven't yet. So I'm not sure if I'll be on pins and needles about this particular gazebo.
So I'm trying to understand, where would that come in? I guess if your gazebo is so far in the backyard that you don't have power out there, that you can run an extension cord underground.
Or you just don't want to run an extension cord to it. Yeah.
You're a lazy gazebo owner.
Yeah, kids tripping over the wires or something.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a fun idea.
It is.
The weatherproof promise really needs to hold true, or you're gonna have a really expensive gazebo with a lot of broken electronics. But
electric gazebo.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you probably want a relatively large yard, or else you would just, I don't know, be inside. You know, you're basically adjacent to your house, and a lot of money. This is not just a cute wooden gazebo that a lot of handy people can build and sit in and eat their sandwiches.
But before today, have you ever said gazebo on Daily Tech News Show?
Certainly not this often.
Not this often.
Okay.
Not this often. So Narwhal showed off the U50 mattress vacuum for DEET mite removal. The handheld cleaner heats up to 137 degrees and shines UV light. High-speed tapping dislodges anything living in your bed that isn't you and uses 16,000 pascals of suction to remove it. The dust bag self-seals, and before you remove it, it cleans and disposes.
Not
of
a
this
robot.
stuff. It's not a robot. And I just want to put this out here. Can we just mandate that all hotels get this? They won't, but it would be so nice if they did.
It would make sense for hotels to get this and then just do like a weekly, narwhal pass. They just need a couple of them, maybe one for each floor or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the investment is much better than getting, that Expedia review where someone says they have bed mites.
I mean, it's good for the home, honestly. I mean, when
absolutely.
I was a kid, I was super allergic to dust mites.
We're not talking about bed bugs. We're talking about dust mites.
No, I know.
Too. Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was super allergic to dust mites. I had an allergy. I literally could not breathe when I was asleep. And they were, at the time, and this was the early 80s, they were talking about encasing my entire mattress in plastic and all the other things. It's like when you have it, you got to make sure you wipe it down daily with like a
Are you saying you want to live with it?
Well, I kind of outgrew my allergies, but
we don't have a price or release date on it either.
Yeah, but this is one of those things that, like, I heard about it. I was like, that's actually kind of interesting because it's one of those things that scratches an itch.
Yeah, pun
that,
intended.
Not a lot of people might not know about, but they're probably affected by it.
Well, and previous, at least for consumers, because I was with you, Roger, when I was younger, this kind of stuff really bothered me, allergies and everything. And the solution was you get like pillow and mattress covers
Yes.
that, keep the dust mites away, right? But they're not soft and comfy.
Yeah.
You feel like you're on like a,
You're sleeping on plastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, it feels like
Yeah, or rubber or
construction, or
something.
like construction papers. What they feel like. To me.
Yeah, it just, those never stuck with me either.
Hey, about the hotels getting it, Icor said that now that we've talked about it, they might know about it.
Oh,
Get it?
I didn't
All
get
right,
it.
let's take a trip to Accessory Town. There's always a ton of accessories at CES, of course. I feel like there's a higher number this year. I don't know if the rest
yes,
of you have
it
felt
definitely
that.
felt
Yeah.
like that walking around last night.
Yeah. Belkin, always a big exhibitor. They've got a lot of stuff here. A few of the things that are notable. Charging Case Pro for the Nintendo Switch 2 has a 10,000 milliamp hour battery, 30 watts of charging, and an LCD screen so you can see how much charge is left without having to pull the thing out. Has a stand for the Switch and pockets for game cards, and a hidden compartment for a smart tracker, so if you lose it, you know where it is. Available right now for $100. This is a product you can hear about at CES and go walk out and buy. Belkin also has the Connect Air wireless HDMI display adapter. This is nice because it doesn't use Wi-Fi. You just plug it into the HDMI port on your display, on your TV or whatever, and then plug the transmitter into a USB-C port on your device, and you can send wireless video. It's using RF. It works up to 131 feet away. Will go through walls, though that might reduce your range. But you don't have to deal with AirPlay or Google Cast or any of that. You can just cast whatever you want. There won't be any DRM in the way because it's just going over RF. $150 coming at the end of March. That's also from Belkin. And the new 10 kilowatt wireless Qi 2.2 power bank, which has a magnet on the back. So you can add the battery to the back of your phone with the Qi 2 magnet and then still use an attachment. You're not like, oh, I have to take the battery off because I want to put a wallet on it or I want to attach it to a tripod or something like that. It put the magnet on the back of the battery. That's $100 coming sometime before the end of March.
Well, speaking of Qi, the Basis SpaceMate RD1 Pro 15-in-1 docking station has a lot of ports, as you would expect. But what is unique is a flip-up wireless Qi 2.2 25-watt charging pad on the top. So you can dock your laptop and then pop a phone on top to charge at the same time. That is launching later this month for $200.
IKEA announced a 20-watt USB-C wall charger for $4.
No, that's not. That can't be right.
I'm just visually illustrating.
$4. So
$4.
I know it's just a wall wart, but that price absolutely aligns with the way that my checking is connected to my savings. And savings is connected to the
That
checking.
is less money than I paid for a matcha latte yesterday.
Yeah.
$4. Huh. I wonder if it's made from recycled plywood.
No, you have to assemble it when you get it.
It does have an unpronounceable to us Swedish name that we took out of the copy. So there is that as well. 8BitDo announced the Ultimate 3E controller for Xbox. It's a modular controller, so it's got multiple joystick options, 2 D-pad options, one for precision or one if you want what they call smooth directional rolls. Also has a 1000 hertz max pulling rate, Hall effect impulse triggers, remappable bumpers, customizable 6-axis motion control, certified for Xbox, but you can use it with other devices as well. Pre-orders opening soon for $150, shipping later this year. All right. Health is a big emphasis. I talked to Gary Shapiro. That interview went out yesterday, and he was talking about longevity and health and all that sort of stuff. So let's look at a couple of health products.
Yeah, Withings has added 20 features to its body scan smart scale, bringing it to a total of 60. Among the new features are impedance cardiography, that's ICG, that monitors your heart's capacity to pump blood to the organs, and bioimpedance spectroscopy, BIS, which uses a low-level electrical current to check your body's total water. That helps identify active cell mass and metabolic, there we go, almost made it through, efficiency. And those can help identify hypertension, hyperglycemia, and more. Withings expects FDA clearance by the time it goes on sale in Q2 for $600.
Yeah. So I think when the Body Scan 1 came out, we were looking at it going, okay, that's kind of interesting. I think they're just trying to make it more and more interesting.
That impedance cardiography is pretty sweet. I mean, it's just amazing. Like 5 years, even 10 years ago, this whole thing seemed very still Star Trek. And the fact that they're just
my doctor has a whole thing that I have to stand on and hold the electrodes and all that does all this stuff, and it obviously is going to do it more accurately than Withings, but we're getting closer and closer to me not having to use that big contraption.
Well, let's talk urine. And I'm actually serious.
About time, finally.
I know, right? Everybody's been waiting with bated breath. Mira is trying to simplify urine testing, yes, for real, with the Ultra 4 hormone monitor. This contains a wand that you pee on, and an egg-shaped device analyzes your results. This can detect levels of 4 reproductive hormones. This is for women, that will help detect fertility, ovarian cysts, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, perimenopause, and menopause, as well as overall metabolic health. An app lets you determine what signals to look for and how often you should be testing. Results take about 16 minutes, then you can view them. The Mira Ultra 4 hormone monitor is FDA listed, selling for $249, and you're going to need replacement wand packs. Those are $99.
Yeah, it didn't say how many wands come with it, or at least I couldn't find it. So that's an important expense.
Yes.
It's like printer cartridges.
That's how they make the real money on your urine.
Yep.
Just do the replacement packs.
But all kidding aside, this is listen, if it works as advertised, extremely helpful for women of a variety of ages and perhaps a variety of ailments.
Yeah, and it's something long term. Victoria Song wrote it up for The Verge and was saying like she would have to do this like 5 days in a row for the first 2 weeks with spaces in between, and then like on irregular intervals for it to get enough data to start giving her useful information. So it's not like, hey, you pee on it once and it tells you everything. You got to commit to it, but that's the kind of thing you want from a listed device that's going to be helpful. All right, bunch of other things that are just plain interesting. I'm not even sure what category they go in necessarily. A company called TDM, Tomorrow Doesn't Matter, announced its first pair of wireless headphones at CES. They roll up to become a Bluetooth speaker. They work as normal over-the-air headphones. They're called the Neo. But if you twist the headband and roll it up around the ear cups, then it can be a speaker. And if you're like, well, hold on, it's just like speaker level, or they're going to be really loud when I wear them, there are 2 40-millimeter sets of drivers. So twisting the headphone automatically switches it to the outward-facing ones. And then you can switch with a button as well. You can run off battery to be fully wireless, but it does have a 3.5 millimeter audio cable, and there are microphones in it too, so you can use it to talk on the phone. They're going to launch a Kickstarter at a reduced price, and then later this month they'll start selling them for $249. That's just nifty. It's just sort of like, I'm not going to twist these because I'll break them, but just to be able to do that.
You just wouldn't think that doing that you'd get good sound out of the actual like speaker iteration, but yeah,
I mean, if the drivers are decent, obviously it's not going to be the best sound, but for the convenience,
the trade-off, totally. Yesterday, I actually took a little trip out to see the TCL stuff. TCL announced a note-taking device akin to the Remarkable or something like the Kindle Scribe. It's called the TCL Note A1 Nextpaper. It uses TCL's LCD screen that looks a bit like e-paper, but doesn't actually use e-ink. It's an 11.5-inch color display with a 2200 by 1440 resolution, 120 hertz refresh rate. It supports the T Pen Pro for taking notes, has 8 built-in microphones for recording and transcribing, has some cameras for scanning documents. They also told me, you could also use this for like video calls, that sort of stuff. But the cameras aren't necessarily meant to be like capturing, artwork at high resolution or anything. Available on Kickstarter, going on sale at the end of, they told me sometime in Q1, but notes here say February, $549. And I got to kind of play around with the device a little bit. I'm going to be writing an article for this for ZDNet here, probably a little bit later, probably actually after this. But it's a cool device. I mean, Nextpaper devices generally usually have like a little switch, so you can go between full color mode and ramp down color, and then full black and white. This doesn't have that. This is a very specific, focused device. Yes, running Android, but really specific to note taking. And there was a cool mode where you're recording audio in one portion of the screen, live transcription of the meeting in another portion, and then a big scratch pad down below.
Oh, wow.
And kind of an integrated all three in one at the same time, which could be really useful during a meeting.
So CES would not be CES without pinball.
Oh, yeah.
You got to have pinball. So Stern Pinball was back at CES and showing the merging of pinball and video games. I talked to them yesterday evening and did a bit of an interview, and I also got to play the game. Now the interview will be up on the YouTube channel, here shortly. But I actually got to play Star Wars: The Fallen Order.
Okay.
And to make a long story short, it is pinball bumpers that you're pressing buttons, the analog feel of pinball, and it is playing a Star Wars game on an Xbox or something like that simultaneously. And it was glorious.
That's hard to wrap your mind around.
It
if you haven't
is.
Done it, you know?
It was so fun. It's
Yeah.
like, because you literally are now not just trying to, get a ball in a certain place. You get a ball in a certain place, and then you're looking at the screen because it's causing things to happen in the video game.
Oh, wow.
And it's immersive, and it's a different way to play pinball. Pinball, for literally from its inception, has been kind of tech forward with all the controllers and everything, but these things are now full-fledged gaming systems, but you still get the analog feel of pinball.
Yeah.
So it's really fun.
All right, as we mentioned so long ago at the beginning of the show, Lego has been making an announcement, and we're going to check in with Roger Chang, who's been monitoring it. Roger, there's a lot to go over, I know, but try to give us the highlights. What did Lego announce?
So what they announced was a system they called Lego Smart Brick as part of a larger environment known as Smart Play. The idea behind it is that you have these standard, what looks like standard Lego bricks that feature a chip that's smaller than an actual stud on the connected tile that has RFID sensors as well as light, sound, and color capabilities. And it interacts not only with other smart bricks in a set or in a play, but also minifigs, so the little action figures that come with Lego that you can interact with. The idea, of course, is that you don't necessarily build an entire set or a piece out of using just these smart bricks, but rather you use them within a larger set. So you could have maybe a handful of them within, let's say, a piece of 100 or 200 pieces, and they could allow you to sort of have a more interactive play. One of the things they sort of showed off was they were demoing a little tiny car that produced sounds as you were playing with it, and if you tilted it to one side, it would make a sound like it was screeching tires, and if it interacted with a minifig that was part of this set, a smart minifig, it would make the character would yell it as it was surprised,
As if it was hit by the car. Got it.
or it saw it. And it's actually kind of cool. Another example they used was as a smart brick as a part of a larger trophy, and as you were racing, they were racing ducks in this case. The duck that got closest and that won was the brick would highlight that color of that duck, so you know which duck actually won. Now they're going to introduce these initially as part of their Star Wars license line. They they have 3 set for March. One is the an X-Wing fighter set. Another one is Darth Vader's TIE Advanced set, as well as Darth Vader Imperial Throne Room that plays the Imperial March as you play with it. So it does the whole dun 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 dun. So it's kind of cool. There was no MSRP revealed yet, but releasing this March. I'm curious to know what the price is. I'm probably going to say it's not going to be under $100.
If it's cheap enough, the light and sound is fun, but if it's too expensive, it may not be worth it. The RFID seems like it has the most possibility for something really interesting.
And when these bricks interact with each other, they form sort of a disaggregated network, so they can effectively talk and interact with each other. So you could build out more elaborate things with them. You don't necessarily need to stick with the set that they're part of, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're marketing to me on this. I am a fan of Lego, have been since I'm a kid. I still buy sets and build them. I've got probably 3 30-gallon totes full of parts and probably 20 or so models. So it's like, to me, Lego is almost like model building.
Yeah.
Because I'll actually build them and and actually spray like a adhesive over it so it just the pieces won't
Wait,
fall
you
apart.
glue
and stuff
them
like that.
together? Isn't
Yeah,
that-
they're permanent because they're decoration at this point.
I mean, that was the whole thing. I
turned into
was
a
one of
K-pop
those
idol with
people
his
that,
hand over it.
but and this is probably why they keep doing it. I bought the original Lego Masterpiece Star Wars kits. I bought the X-wing and the TIE Interceptor. I was always so close to gluing together, but it's like, you can't. That's the you
I mean, you
That was
can.
the whole story of the
Clearly
Lego
you can.
movie.
So you can't. So I don't do it with all of them. So I do have some parts that I could drop them and they'll bust apart and you step on them and you're screaming at the top of your lungs. But yeah, sometimes they're models for me. So it's like my Millennium Falcon is a model. I don't ever plan on building it again because I've already built it and it took months to do.
Yeah.
So you spray the adhesive over it and it's now just a piece that sits down in my basement.
And you can play with it at least.
You can pick it up, right? Not worried about it falling apart.
No, we play with it, Tom.
pick it up and play with it.
Rob's in the room.
Well,
like,
you won't have to make the sound if you use the new light brush.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Oh,
and
you
that's
know
what's
what?
cool. This is very interesting because
That is
Lego's
a great
always
point.
sort of been tech forward, either with their Lego
Yeah, they really
Mindstorm
have.
or the
Yeah. Yeah.
Technic set. So I eagerly await to see what the price is.
All right, we have 2 rare gems for you. These are non-CES pieces of tech news today.
spotted out in the wild. In a support note, Google announced that starting this month, fetching email into your Gmail account with POP3 will no longer be supported. POP3 will still work in the Gmail mobile app, but that's a feature of the app, not a feature of Gmail. So no web access. IMAP still supported.
I was getting real mad about this till I realized, oh wait, I just use IMAP for everything.
I know.
It was like I feel some kind of way about it, but I don't know that I've used a pop server in a decade.
It affects somebody out there, and
Yeah.
if you're angry, let us know.
Comcast spinoff Versant began trading stock on the NASDAQ on Monday, making its official separation from the parent company. Versant is made up of former NBC cable companies, including MS Now, formerly MSNBC, CNBC, Golf Channel, USA, Sci-Fi, and Oxygen, as well as digital properties Fandango, Rotten Tomatoes, Golf Now, and Sports Engine.
Godspeed, Versant. All right, folks, if any of you are here at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas or just in Las Vegas, we should meet up. I'm going to be there. Jason's going to be there.
I'll be there.
Rob's going to be there. Amos is going to be there. Kevin's going to be there. You're going to be there, right? Come meet us. Where? At the Resorts World Food Court, January 7th, 6:30 p.m. That's this Wednesday, January 7th, 6:30 p.m. We will have some stickers to give away. Not just this one, lots of different stickers. We'll talk about all the tech we've seen. So come on out if you're in the Las Vegas area. Again, that's Wednesday, January 7th, 6:30 p.m. at the Resorts World Food Court. See you there.
So let's finish up the show by taking a step back and looking at the trends we've seen so far. We've all been, walking around and seeing a bunch of stuff. So just kind of a roundtable of, there's a lot of wearable note takers like the SwitchBot, and MindClip, and Soundcore, and Work, and Plod. Personally, I think I am a fan of Plod. I think I might be picking one of these things up.
Yeah, I'd say we've got about 10 minutes. It's going to be a longer show today, folks, if you haven't already noticed that by looking at the counter on your playback. I have yet to see one of these that is different. They all seem fairly interchangeable. Some of them have a button on it so you can highlight a particular thing. Some of them will show like LED lights for certain things. A lot of them claim to have the best transcription and be able to have you ask questions about it that are more detailed. But I'm not yet sure how to make a ranking of these.
Well,
sorts of
sorry. The thing that I'm looking for in these is not requiring a monthly service in order to do transcription.
Yeah, good
I don't want to cap at 300 minutes. I want on-device localized transcription, which which is part of their business model. I understand why they're doing it. Like Pebble was unveiled last night, and they had their little Index 01. That's entirely on device. It's also not, you're not speaking long scribes into it, right? It's a very controlled, limited thing. Vachi was also there. They had their own ring of the similar approach. It's going to have a subscription cost to it. I just really want, these devices are very useful. No doubt about it. But I don't want to like lock myself into a monthly requirement of $15 to $20 a month just for that one device. You know, I just don't want to do it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And when you don't get that service, they basically become recording devices.
Yeah,
So the difference between these are not just you hit the record and it records everything you say and you transcribe what you said. They're more than that. They actually are smart about the way that they actually put things together. You're having a conversation with someone, then a side conversation happens. It understands that and is able to separate those kind of things out. And that's where that service comes in. So like I'm like you, I want that as well. I just don't think they're going to give it to us. At least not in the near future.
I know you
Someone
put a
will.
80 tops NPU in a Qualcomm mainstream laptop chip. Come on, put it in one of these. Yeah, Sarah, you want to wear something that records you all the time, right?
I definitely would be willing to live with it, with one. In fact, I had suggested the Plod sometime back, and you said, yeah, it's a good idea. I think the you wear it around your neck, or you pin it to your lapel, or it's a ring on your finger, or whatever it is that has to be attached to your person in some way. Maybe it's a small crossbody bag. We've seen that too. That's all. That is asking a lot of anybody. Now, some people are like, oh, that's easy. I have no problem. It's like wearing a lanyard, at CES type thing. Like, that's not hard for me to do. Other people really care about what it looks like. And then, of course, there's, the whole privacy situation, that Jason, you touched on. I don't know. I feel like I don't need lots of stuff to be transcribed. Beyond, what we're doing right now, it's like we have a script, we all write stuff, now we're talking. There are plenty of use cases for this, but I think everybody's different. There are people who are like, I do a lot of meetings, this is great. Or I'm out at CES meeting all sorts of folks, don't have to do business cards, like this is all great. And then there are the rest of us saying, yeah, maybe that's helpful. But I used to say that about ChatGPT too.
It's one of those things, I think, if you're in a position where you need to do a lot of not narration but dictating. I used to have to transcribe dictation tapes from doctors, and man, they are very, very loquacious on those things, and trying to figure out what they've said and have the foot pedals where you slow it down and it goes because you don't know some of the medical terms. This would be super helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So earbuds seem to be a thing that are at CES 2026, and some of the cool things is that they're earbuds that are actual hearing aids as well. So subtle earbuds, they can transcribe your voice, and they use a little bit of AI to do that. Xreal, they make earbuds that are actual hearing aids. You can actually use a prescription to get this. So one of the things, and I actually suffer from that. I have probably in my right ear about a 20% hearing loss, because I used to drive around with way too much stereo equipment in my car when I was a teenager, and have compression damage in my ear. So, but I don't want to wear a hearing aid. Right. But I wear earbuds all the time. So these are actual they're actual prescription driven hearing aids, but they look like earbuds, and you can stylize them, you can make them look cute, and they do all kind of cool stuff. You can plug them into TV, you can Bluetooth. They're just really cool. And the problem they're trying to solve is that there are a lot of people who probably do need assistance to hear clearly, but don't want to wear the hearing aid. And this, you just don't have that feeling of everybody looks at you and they know that you have a hearing issue, as compared to everybody's just looking at you and they think you're that person that walks around with an with Bluetooth in your ear.
Which would you rather be?
Yeah, exactly.
We also a lot of cute robots everywhere at CES unveiled yesterday. There was something fuzzy that was moving around on its own, and
Or something not fuzzy. That was
Now,
It
Tom,
was also bad, too.
I believe you said you expected to see 23 different robots, and Rob said 31.
Past.
I said 31, so I am up to 11, and I am counting the vacuum cleaner that we saw in the actual hotel casino. That counts. It is a robot. It's doing its own thing. It's avoiding people. It's wilting at folks. So that counts. So I think that we're going to crush the number. And it wasn't all just the little cute ones. It was we saw the actual military style robot dogs that looked like they could damage you. Like you could mount like a gun turret to these things, probably if the law allowed them to. So it's.
I feel like we see those at CES quite often, but I brought up the cute ones because I felt like there were way more of those. I liked the Tombot dog, not just because of its name, but it's an assistive device for seniors with like Alzheimer's or
Right.
something, where it just kind of lays and reacts to being petted and looks cute and it's fuzzy and all that.
No, there was one little robot, and it actually looks like a mood ring that can roll around the floor a little bit, but it's
Oh,
it's
yeah,
for
okay, I know what
children
you're talking
to
about, yeah.
provide AI for kids,
Yeah.
and that's
Like
it's like
companionship or
I
something?
kind of always
Yeah.
just. Do I want my child talking to a large language model that was intended for adults? I don't know that I do.
SwitchBot, the people that have the laundry folding one we talked about earlier, they had a little like purple owl looking thing, looked like an anime character, frankly, that would like react to you and stuff. Ludens has them, Kokomo has them, Inu is here. A lot of those. And then Reuters noted in a story I saw a shift of emphasis in car tech that we'll keep an eye on from talking about electric vehicles to talking about autonomous driving. So in the past, everybody's been pushing their EVs and their EV tech. You're seeing less emphasis on that and more emphasis on the autonomous driving stuff.
And I understand. I want level 4. I want my car. I just want to be able to talk to my car like Kit from Knight Rider, and hey, come pick me up at the door.
Yeah.
Take me here, and I don't have to actually do anything. I get in it like it's an Uber, and it just drops me off. But it's my car. That's what I'm looking for.
Even better, it can park itself because you don't need to go through.
They could already do
valet.
that. Yeah, that's something
But-
you could do right now.
I think a trend that I'm following while I'm here and have definitely been briefed on a few things. I can't remember like what I'm what I'm embargoed on, so I won't
yourself
name
in
them
trouble.
specifically. Are smart glasses. Like there
Oh,
are,
yeah.
are going to be a lot of smart glasses and AI glasses. These are Ray Neo's X3 Pro that they're showing off here. If you go to like the TCL booth, I think they have these, but this is like a binocular, view on smart glasses, and I think we're going to see a lot of these coming from a lot of different brands right now as AI intersects with wearables.
They are really starting to just look like glasses. Those look like glasses.
Yeah, they do.
They're
a little
thicker
chunky,
frame, but
they look a little weird on my face. That's the thing about glasses. Like they can look good on like 50% of faces, but all our faces are different, and so you're kind of locked in. There's other brands that I know of that are going to be showing stuff off, and they've got total partnerships with legitimate glasses makers. So there is a drive towards making these things actually kind of like blend more.
Yeah, because Meta pioneered
Yeah.
it with Essilor Luxottica
Right.
glasses, the Oakleys that
Oakleys.
you've got there.
Yep.
Obviously, Project Aura is with Warby Parker and Gentle Monster.
Yep.
But we're going to see more of those kinds of partnerships.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of these announcements here at the show.
Well, folks, we want to know what CES has you thinking about. So if you've got some insights to a story, please share it with us at feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
How do we all feel after day one? We're not even to day one.
We are.
The show opens
We're day
tomorrow.
-1.
Yeah.
Yesterday was -2.
Yeah.
I know. Excited. I'm a little tired, but
Yeah.
I'm excired.
There's only 500 more days to go. Don't worry, Jason. It's gonna be fine.
I selected the proper shoes. I was telling you guys last night when we did our recap, our nightcap recap last night. My feet didn't hurt.
Yeah.
That is always
That's
a plus
amazing.
with all the
That's
walking you
amazing.
do at
Very
CES.
Oh, by the way, yeah, if you're a patron, keep an eye out for us going live in the evenings when we're done with our day, sitting in the hotel lobby. We're going to do a little nightcap recap of our days. So check that out. Thanks to everyone for contributing to today's show. Huge thanks to Amos and Kevin for setting this up. They were up for hours last night getting this all together. So big round of applause for both of them. Thank you, Amos, for hauling all of this stuff here. Kevin, thanks for jumping in and helping. Thanks to the CTA for accommodating us, giving us this space. Thank you for being along for Daily Tech News Show. The only reason we can be here is because you keep us in business by becoming a patron at patreon.com/DTNS.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.